The road to Goa had always been a symbol of freedom stretching endlessly between dusty towns, green valleys, and the promise of the sea at the horizon. Every twist of the highway carried laughter, music, and dreams. For friends Aman, Priya, Kabir, and Tera had planned this trip for months. It wasn't just a vacation. It was a long-awaited escape from their hectic lives. A reunion after years of drifting apart. They wanted to feel alive again, to rediscover who they were before the world buried them under deadlines and disappointments. But that road, that beautiful stretch between Amboli and Sawantwadi, had other plans. It began with golden sunlight shimmering over their car roof and ended in a night soaked with fear. The first few hours were filled with joy music blasting, the windows down, wind rushing through their hair. The group laughed at every milestone, taking photos, sharing memories, teasing one another about old crushes and forgotten fights. Goa felt so close, almost breathing beside them. But as the sun dipped, painting the sky crimson, the highway grew quieter. The forests on either side seemed to lean closer, whispering secrets through rustling leaves. Priya noticed at first the air had changed, colder somehow, heavier. The laughter faded as they drove into mist, so thick the headlights were swallowed whole. When the engine sputtered and died, no one spoke. They were on a desolate road, signal gone, surrounded by fog so dense it looked alive. Kabir tried to start the car again, but the ignition only coughed. Tara's voice trembled, asking if someone could check outside. Ayman, always the fearless one, laughed nervously. "It's just the cold," he said, grabbing the flashlight. "I'll fix it." He stepped out into the mist, his figure fading within seconds. The others watched through the windshield, hearts pounding. Minutes ticked by. Then came the scream, raw, distant, and cut short. Tara shouted his name, throwing the door open, but Kabir stopped her. "Wait," he whispered. They could hear footsteps circling the car, slow, deliberate, crunching against gravel. Priya whispered a prayer under her breath, clutching a small pendant she wore since childhood. Then, suddenly, the flashlight beam reappeared, lying on the ground, still glowing. But Ayman wasn't there. They waited until dawn, terrified, eyes burning from sleeplessness, fear anchoring them in place. When the morning light broke through the fog, the car engine turned on by itself, humming gently like nothing had ever happened. But Aman was gone. Fear isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a silence that eats away at your heart. That night revealed something raw and unfiltered in each of them. Priya, the quiet one, found herself praying aloud, tears mixing with rain. Kabir, who always wanted to be in control, realized he couldn't protect anyone. Tara, who had been afraid of everything her whole life, was the only one who stepped out of the car at dawn, shouting Aman's name into the void. Fear stripped them bare. It showed them who they truly were when the masks fell off. That's what horror does. It doesn't just frighten you. It uncovers you. It makes you confront the fragile, trembling parts of yourself you keep hidden. When you face darkness, you learn what courage really means. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward even when your legs shake and your heart screams to turn back. The road to Goa wasn't just a highway anymore. It was a mirror. And in that mirror, they saw themselves for the first time. After hours of searching, they met a man from a nearby village. He warned them quietly. People disappear there every few years. Don't drive at night. When they asked why, he pointed at a rusted road sign that read, "No honking after sunset." Tara frowned. "That's ridiculous," she said. The man shook his head, eyes distant. "A woman waits there. She doesn't like to be disturbed." Local legends whispered of the Gati Fantima spirit that haunted that stretch of road. Years ago, a young bride was returning from her wedding when her husband's car lost control and fell into the ravine. Her body was never found. Since then, travelers said she stood by the roadside at night, waving for help. Those who stopped vanished. Those who honked to mock her never reached the next town. Many dismissed it as folklore, but the villagers knew better. Kabir didn't believe in ghosts. "It's just fear feeding fear," he said. But that night, as they drove again, Tara saw a figure by the road, a woman in a red sari, drenched, her hair clinging to her face. She stood motionless, her arm raised, as if asking for help. Priya whispered, "Don't stop." But Kabir slowed the car. The woman's head turned sharply toward them, her face pale, eyes hollow and black. Kabir slammed the accelerator, and the car roared forward. For a moment, The road disappeared, replaced by darkness, and then everything went silent again. When they looked back, there was no one, but handprints wet and cold covered the rear windshield. Sometimes life gives us signs, tiny warnings, that we ignore because we think we know better. We call it superstition, coincidence, fear. But the truth is, intuition is the voice of something ancient inside us, a whisper from the soul trying to keep us alive. Ignoring it isn't bravery, it's blindness. The road teaches us that not every warning is meant to scare us. Some are meant to save us. They stopped by a small church the next morning. The priest inside listened silently as they told their story. He only said, "Darkness is real, but so is light. Don't run from fear, pray through it." That night, when the car broke down again near the forest, they didn't panic. They lit candles, closed their eyes, and prayed not for rescue, but for calm. The rain beat against the windows. Thunder rolled, and yet, inside that car, there was peace. Faith didn't erase their fear, gave them the strength to survive it. Fear tests your faith. It asks, will you still believe in goodness when everything around you feels cursed? Will you still hope when the dark won't end? The friends found their answer not in miracles, but in stillness. They realized that in life, storms don't stop when you beg them to, they stop when you stop fearing them. As they continued their journey, they met a fisherman by a riverside tea stall. He told them another story, one of a woman who had once lived near that road, waiting every night for her husband who never returned from war. They said she died waiting, clutching his photos to her chest. And on rainy nights, she still stands there, asking every passing soul, "Have you seen him?" The fisherman's eyes filled with pity. "She is not evil," he said softly, "just lost." Priya wept quietly after hearing that. Maybe the ghost wasn't trying to harm them. Maybe she was searching for something she could never find. Sometimes, the past doesn't die, it lingers, echoing through the present, trapped in moments that never found closure. Each of us carries ghosts like that, old griefs, regrets, promises, unless we make peace with them, they keep haunting us in silence. The trip to Goa became a pilgrimage of souls. They had lost Aman, but in a strange way, they felt him guiding them. Tara dreamed of him one night. He stood on the roadside, smiling faintly, saying, "Keep driving." She woke up crying, but something in her heart told her it wasn't just a dream. Maybe Ayman was gone, but hope wasn't he. When they finally reached Goa, the sun was rising over the ocean. The waves shimmered gold, and the air smelled of salt and peace. They parked near the shore and walked into the water, letting it touch their feet. They placed flowers into the sea for Ayman. The petals drifted out, carried by the tide. Tara whispered, "He made it home." For a moment, the wind grew stronger, and they could swear they heard laughter. Same carefree laughter Ayman had on that first day of the trip. That's the thing about life and horror. They both remind you that everything is temporary. Fear, loss, pain, they all pass like mist on the road. The only thing that stays is what you learn from it. Darkness doesn't destroy you. It reveals your light. Every terrifying journey carries a purpose, even when it feels senseless. The Goa road trip changed them forever. They returned different, quieter, wiser, more awake. Tara learned to trust her instincts. Priya found her faith again. Kabir stopped pretending to be fearless and started embracing his humanity. Each of them carried a piece of that night with them, not as trauma, but as truth. Sometimes life is like that haunted road, beautiful but unpredictable. It takes you through fog, through fear, through heartbreak. It forces you to lose things you thought you couldn't live without, only to discover that you're stronger than you ever imagined. The trick is to keep moving, to never stop believing that there's light waiting at the end. No matter how long the darkness lasts, fear will always exist. It lives in every new beginning, every change, every unknown path. But courage doesn't mean walking without fear. It means walking with it, holding its hand, and saying, "You can come with me, but you don't control me." That's what this story teaches. No matter what ghosts chase you, no matter what storms find you, don't let them stop your journey. Because even on the darkest night, the road still leads somewhere. And maybe, just maybe, beyond that fog, something beautiful waits for you, something that makes every terror worth surviving. So when you find yourself lost, when your path feels haunted, when the world around you grows cold and unfamiliar, take a deep breath. Remember the friends who faced the mist. Remember the road that taught them courage. And keep driving forward with faith. with love, with the light still burning in your heart. Dear God, when the road ahead feels haunted by fear or doubt, guide our hearts through the fog. Let our courage burn brighter than the shadows. And if we ever lose our way, may your light lead us home.